What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today we are going to be talking about a big change that was supposed to happen the following week. We talked about this in the Global Lab, and apparently it's getting delayed once again. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. I understand that a lot of people are like, oh, this should have came out in like August when they announced it, previously. But I kind of wanted to go over this. I'll let you guys read this as well. It's from the official BDO page. It's in English. They have a post and then Korean. But anyway, let's talk about it because I know people have been preparing a lot of the materials and everything. So I wanted to just talk about it and we'll just cover what it's all about. So all of this is basically saying that they know that we've been asking for an Alchemy Stone change since 2015 or whatever, 2016. And what they're going to be doing with that is actually a good change. So they understand that the Alchemy Stone system was very difficult to upgrade, and admittedly so. And they're going to be changing how the Alchemy Stone change works. So what are they actually doing? First, they plan on removing the Alchemy Stone level downgrade. That's a good thing. And then they're also going to remove the Cronstone requirement, which is actually very amazing. Because when we looked at the patch notes last week, it was basically 1 to 3 trillion silver to go from Splendid to Shining. And that was actually a lot, especially because I talked about this. And, with Adania armors and then people going for Sovereign, that's already a huge silver sink. And I was kind of calculating that in the video. I was saying, people, if you were to try to keep up pace with the weekly progression, you know how like you get the Adania stones to upgrade your armors, and then now with the Alchemy Stone, that was roughly like 50 to 60 billion silver a week. That's a lot. And so I'm glad that they're removing the Cronstone requirement and it's going to be something different. And so, yeah, that's actually a good change. And as for the direction of Alchemy Stones, to become content with more adventures, we've decided to revamp the entire thing. So basically, you know how it was going to cost you like 10, 15 billion silver per click? Now it's 3.3 billion, which is significantly less. I mean, it's still a sink in silver, but it's not as bad. So, yeah. I think the way it works, from my understanding, is everyone has been collecting the sharps, the enhancing material, and it was going to cost that plus crons. Now it's just double the amount of sharps, which is going to make that go up in price a little bit. But they're removing the crons, which I think is an overall good thing. So I'm glad that at least one person at Pearl Abyss actually plays the game and decided this was a good change, because it is a good change. So through these changes, we hope that Alchemy Stones will no longer be an item adventurers cannot attempt easily due to failure risk, but become content that adventurers can steadily work towards themselves to achieve. So yeah, I think it's a good change overall. But if they want this to be the norm of people getting like Splendids and Shinings, which are the realistic goals, they would have to have just raised the rates for all of that, like then success rates. And tiers have always been among the highest levels of difficulty, so we believe it would not be appropriate and for Alchemy Stones to be widely obtainable. So we talked about that. It's going to still be time gated through Rift bosses. You get the materials and then you upgrade the same way, just cheaper. And we'll see how that goes. So let's see. With that said, certain growth levels will be seeing a slight ease in success rates. That's good. And the Ancient Anvil, which is the pity system, the I think Agris or whatever they call it, pity system. So let's see. If it were to have failed, there's no drop or destruction. That's a very big change. If it were to level drop, you could be preventing that with Cronstones. Now Cronstones are no longer required. W change. Required materials for growth. Yeah, I think so it's going to be like, instead of 10 sharps, you need 20 and still the same things. So with the replacement of cronstones, you just use double the sharps, which is really good. And people who are like, oh, I can't get sharps a lot, with the patch that is currently live, if you do gathering, you know how you get the fairy tiers or the yellow bottles? Those drop at a very high rate actually nowadays. So it's actually very easy to get sharps. I was getting between like 1 to 200 an hour from full energy to 0. And then nowadays I'm getting like what, 500-600, in the same cycle. So getting sharps is actually a lot easier nowadays, so I wouldn't worry about that one. So if you do gathering, you're essentially doing the same thing for 3 times the rewards. So that's good. The tier growth costs, like, let's be real, the most important ones are Shining and Splendid, because everyone has a Vel, and everything under Vel right now, well, I guess it's just less relevant, more or less. So average cost for the highest tier is 16 billion. Now it's 3. That's actually a huge change. And the pity system, they don't give a number, but they said it's going to be easier, whatever that means. So we all know Pearl Abyss easier is just like slightly not as bad as making people want to quit, just like Sovereign going for Nob and Deck makes people want to quit. We understand that the improvements today may not satisfy all adventure. This was a good change. If you're mad at this change, that I don't understand, because like no one is upset that you're paying less, for like 5 times less than before. No one is upset with that. However, our goal for Alchemy Stones is to not be a burden. It's good, because if they want to keep progressing the game, because right now, I honestly think that there are like less than 0.1% of people who actually hit the 395 AP to actually technically meet the efficient AP caps. So I think this was a good change to help people get to that point. Even if it doesn't give sheet AP, it still gives like attack speed, monster damage a little bit. So this is overall helping people slowly get into the higher end grind spots, or even just any new one. So yeah, overall good. And yeah, I would love to see who is actually upset with this change, because first of all, it's not even out, and second, are you really mad at paying less, like 5 times less than before, and using your Cron Stones on literally anything else? Because I guarantee you there are very few people in this game that have hard cap gear. And yeah, it helps progression grow a little bit. Anyway, with that said, to apply these changes, the schedule will be postponed to January 22. At this point, like, they keep delaying it. They announced this back, what was it, in the Heidel Ball, and then they talked about it more in the Calpheon Ball, so it's already been like 6 months of delaying. It's kind of like, how everyone is so hyped for GTA 6, and then they keep delaying it. It's kind of like this, but the BDO version. And so at this point, I'm just like, it's whatever. It comes out when it comes out. It would have been nicer to just have the thing, come out earlier, like with the following week. So anyone that wants to sink all their Crown Stones into it, they could. But this change is overall good. So yeah, I think it's overall a good change. So let's see. Yep, no one is upset. I guarantee you. If you're upset with it, you need to, find a hobby, and then kindly ask for your understanding. Yeah, sure, it's fine. But anyway, overall, it's a good change. TLDR, that there's no more Cron Stones, but you use double the amount of sharps, and supposedly it's supposed to be a higher chance of success, whatever that may be. Anyway, that's cool. That's all I wanted to talk about. Make sure that everyone got up to date with all the news, in case you were buying all the iron ingots, trying to tap yourself, or just collecting all the sharps. I think this might tank the market a little bit for the next month, and then it'll go up a little bit when it finally does get released, and then it'll slowly start going down again. That's the usual trend for new items and stuff that comes out. But with that said, thanks so much for watching. Once again, I don't really like to talk about it as much, but I do have a code on screen if you are thinking about buying any pearls or the game packages, and it does help me out. If you spend a little bit, I get a portion of that as well, and it's always helpful. Never required, always, just nice to do, and yeah, always appreciated. Anyway, that's it from me today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.